what happens after the war is finished and Hamas is gone? So there's 2 points to this question. Number one, who takes control of Gaza? I mean, Bibi Netanyahu said the other day that he thinks Israel should temporarily take over Gaza, and of course, a lot of people got really upset at that. So that's the first question: who should take control from Gaza? And number two, as many people are talking about this, a lot of people have been see a lot of their family being blown up, and they get radicalized. They're going to get radicalized by that. So how do we combat that in the future? It's a two-part question.
For who takes control of Gaza, that's a really hard one. Giving it back to Abbas, I know Netanyahu has been staunchly opposed to that. He's been opposed this entire time to the idea of basically clearing Hamas out of Gaza, destroying as much as he can, and then handing that piece of land basically back to Abbas, who he would argue has already been an ineffective leader. An Israeli occupation of Gaza seems like a step back, considering the unilateral disengagement from 2005, to go back to having an actual military occupation, regardless of whether or not you think the current blockade and everything amounts to an occupation, is also difficult. I don't think the worst thing in the world would be some sort of temporary Israeli occupation until everything is back okay again, and then elections are held, possibly, and then another disengagement happens from the military. I also don't necessarily think it's bad to give it back to Abbas, as much as Netanyahu doesn't want to do that. I think that obviously the temperature needs to be turned down significantly in regards to these two regions, the Gaza Strip and Israel's attitudes towards each other. But understandably, after October 7th, I'm sure that Israel's not too keen to turn the temperature down on that. Also, I don't know what happens if you have an occupation, you hold elections again, and then another militant group is elected, the Gaza Strip. It seems like you're kind of back to square one. So I feel like my inkling turns towards giving it back essentially to the PA, I guess, as much as I don't think Netanyahu is a big fan of that. I think that's kind of the only reasonable option for it to happen.
I mean, I guess what is temporary? That's a big question, because you say temporary and then it could last forever. And then, like you said, the big question is as well, the Palestinian Authority giving it back to them. What happens if another militant group takes over?
I think at some point you have to be willing to stop with the what ifs and kind of make a decision and then kind of move forward. I think that Israel operates under the same kind of foreign policy assumptions that existed for the country in 48 and 67 and 73, and that's that if they make the wrong move, their country is going to be destroyed. Israel faces obviously a horrible threat to its civilian population, but they don't have any existential crises anymore. The country's not going to be destroyed or eliminated. That should be off the table, and it has been off the table for some 30, 40 years now. I think that the important thing is to kind of treat the Palestinian Authority as like a neighbor that you're going to have regardless of anything that happens, and then try to slowly continue to hand over power to them, and then hopefully work towards some sort of mediated solution between the Palestinians and the Israelis that would hopefully bring an end to this conflict, as dumb as that sounds, because it's been going on for so long, and it seems like we've never been able to get to that peace process. But yeah.